Hi friends, my name is James Hardy with One Love Yoga. I'm coming at you today from my basement in Salt Lake City, Utah, from my house. And today I'm going to be teaching a 60-minute power flow class. The theme of class today is moving meditation. What we're going to establish first is a connection to our breath. And the way that just by controlling our breath, we get pulled into the present moment, get pulled into the present experience where we're practicing meditation. And then how we take that breath and we bring it into our yoga practice, we bring it into the movement. So moving meditation. Props you need for today. I'm working with just a blanket I have in my house. It's fantastic to have. And I also have a yoga block. Now, if you don't have either of these, you're going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. If you do have it, it can be a really great tool for you. We'll get started in a cross-legged position. So as you're ready, find the front edge of your sit bones. This can be done by pulling the flesh away from the sit bones or just taking a step back in space. From there, we can find the full length of our spine, and we'll start out with some shoulder rolls. So on an inhale, just roll your shoulder heads up towards your ears, and as you exhale, release your shoulders down away from the ears and the back. Awesome, let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, shoulder heads up nice and high. Exhale, release down away from the ears on the back. Last one. Inhale, roll shoulder heads up. Exhale, release them down. Just relax your arms. And then we'll start to deepen our breath with Dirga Swasana Pranayama, a 3-part breath exercise. Begin by releasing your air all the way down to empty. Breathe into your low belly for 1, 2, 3, and pause. Breathe into your mid-abdomen for 1, 2, 3, and pause. Fill all the way up to the chest and shoulders, 2, 3, hold the full breath, relax around it, and exhale for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time like that. Breathe in low belly, low back. Hold there. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Hold there. Fill all the way up to the chest, all the way up to the shoulders. Hold your full breath and relax. And exhale nice and slow. From here, Ujjayi breathing. Deep inhale through the nose like you're sipping the air in through a straw. Exhales out the nose as if you're fogging up a mirror. As you work with your Ujjayi breathing, I want you to focus on the sound that the breath is creating. The sound we're looking for is one of like a hollow wind sound or a sound like ocean waves. So thankfully, we don't have to control our breath during the course of the day. Your body has that automatically taken care of. What's incredible is that built into the human mechanism is the ability that at any point in time you want, you can switch in and start controlling how the breath works. And so we call that this mindful activity, where you're taking what's going on in your mind, the process of, thinking about yesterday or today or tomorrow, and you're bringing your mind into what's happening right here and right now in your breath with your body. So let the breath be your guide for your practice, and then just take what works for me and leave the rest behind. We'll blink the eyes open to a soft gaze up front. On your inhale, stretch and reach your arms wide and tall. And as you exhale, just draw the hands together down into the heart center. A couple more times. Inhaling to stretch and reach arms wide and tall. Exhale, hands to heart. Last one, friends. Inhale, arms wide and tall. On the exhale, draw your hands to your heart center. We'll shift forward from our seat and come to a tabletop, hands and knees. And then the first thing we're going to do in our tabletop is we're going to warm up the wrists, the palms, and the fingers. So from your tabletop, just turn the insides of your wrists to face up towards the front of the room. Palms are down, thumbs are pointing to the side, and fingers are pointing backwards. And then we're going to massage it out. So it might be a little movement side to side, or I love when you lean back, you can peel the hands off the mat back to your fingertips, and then lean back forward and roll back down into the ground. While you're doing this, stay with your breath. If you're taking those lean backs, let's do one more. Leaning back to fingertips. Perfect, rolling back forward. From here, take the back of your hands into the ground. You can point your fingers in towards one another, or they can point towards the back of your mat, and just gently massaging the pressure out, side to side or back and forth. We'll come back into hero's pose from here, so your knees come together, tops of the feet are to the ground, sit bones drop back towards your heels, and then just give a roll out through your wrists while you're breathing. Stretch out through the arms, move into your fingers, move into the circle of your palms. Excellent. With the wrists warmed up, with the hands warmed up, we're coming to our first plank. So just step your toes to the back of your mat. Have your shoulders right up directly above your hands right at shoulders distance. And then draw up through the hips until they're on level with your shoulders. Find a little bit of length in your low back, letting your tailbone draw slightly back to your heels, and feel your low abdominals holding up and in. Biceps tone into center line, and rather than the elbows locked, just a little micro bend in them. Breathe in at the top, and on your exhale, you can do this on your knees as well, crossing your ankles behind you. So breathe in at the top, and on your exhale, just lower halfway down, and as you inhale, we'll lift back up to the top of that plank. Let's take that again. So exhale halfway down. This is how it looks on your knees. Inhale back up. Notice you're avoiding bending at the hips. Last one. Exhale halfway down. Inhale, lift back up. Your next exhale, just slowly lower all the way down to the ground. And then we'll move into our low Cobra Pose. So tops of the feet are to the earth. Your chest is to the ground. And then your palms are framing your pectorals. Slide them a little lower, just up to the high ribs. And then squeeze the elbows in so your shoulder blades come in. And start to draw your chest just off the ground. Abdominal wall is rooted. Tops of the feet are to the floor. Find length through the back of your neck, so chin slightly back to throat, and stay with your breathing. Use that strength in your back. Use your breath. Little to no pressure on your hands. That's the key right here. You're using those core muscles, those snake muscles, those back muscles. Next, exhale, lower down. And then to come into our down dog, you can either move through tabletop or just do a reverse plank, pressing off the ground and shifting your hips back up in space. And I love taking a plank to down dog, because the distance of our hands to feet in plank pretty much gives us the distance we need hands to feet in down dog. If you haven't yet in your down dog, friends, just start to walk it out. So slowly drop the weight into one heel while you bend through the opposite knee. You want to spread out into the circle of the palm, get into the fingers. Biceps are toned into center line, like you're holding a beach ball between your arms. Rather than elbows locked, just that slight micro bend. Weight of the head is releasing. And then the hips drop back and up in space, and we draw the legs back down behind us. Find those core muscles lifting the hips back and up, and then find that stretch down through your heels. Use your breathing. The end of your next exhale, we'll just take baby steps on the balls of the feet up to a forward fold at the top of the mat. Just nice and slow. You can go to your fingertips at any point in time. And then once you arrive into your forward fold at the top of your mat, your fingertips are rooted, and the weight of the head is released. Inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. So pressing the hands to the shins or to your thighs above or below your knees. Notice there's a little bit of a bend in your knees here. And then as you lengthen the spine forward, let your shoulder blades gently tone towards one another. Like there was a pencil between the shoulder blades you were trying to hold into place. Length all the way through the back of the neck, chin slightly back into throat. Feel those core muscles around the low back. Breathe into it. And on your next exhale, just release the body weight forward. For a ragdoll frame, opposite hand will grip the outside of opposite elbow or bicep, feet at hip bone distance. Weight of head release, and just slowly let your body sway side to side. Or lightly rock back and forth. Feel free to throw in any nod yes or nod no through your head, just to remind the weight of the head to completely release down in space. For this last round of breath, take a deep inhale into it. And on the exhale, just sigh out the mouth. Release the arms down. Keep your feet at hip bone distance or walk your big toes to touch with space between your heels. With the weight heavy in the arms and the head, vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly roll up to standing. Head is be the very last thing to stack up. When it does, inhaling to reach your arms wide and tall. And then on the exhale, just drawing the hands down into your heart center. Excellent. We'll inhale Utkatasana, chair pose. So I'll give you a side profile of this one. As your sit bones reach back in space, arms lift up. Now, they could be on parallel with one another, coming back, framing the ears. You could also open your arms out into goal pose here. Find the strength in your legs, so feel that press down into the floor. Feel those thigh muscles, those quadriceps engaged, wrapping around the knee. Feel your glutes pulling back up away from the knees, wrapping up onto your low back. Find the core muscles and the strength of your shoulders. Bring your hands into your heart center, deep breath in. And on your next exhale, we'll twist over to the right. So your left elbow goes to the top outside of your right thigh. If you're practicing with the feet together, your knees are together, your ankle bones are together. If we're practicing with things at hip bone distance, we want to leave them at hip bone distance. So avoid knees bowing in or out. Knees are lined up flush in front of you, so hips are lined up behind you. Gaze over to the side of the room. Stay with your breath. Think about pulling the knuckles on your thumbs towards your sternum. If you want to separate your arms out for the last little bit here, right arm reaches out in space. Left arm can go on the outside of the right leg or the fingertips down to the floor in between the legs. On your inhale, we're going to come back up to chair, hands at heart, facing forward. And on the exhale, switch things out. We're building up that heat in the legs. So right elbow to the top outside of your left thigh. Keep breathing. Keep drawing into the strength around versus sinking into our knees. And then let the knuckles on your thumbs pull in towards your sternum. Exhale is going to wring you out inside of this twist. Get you all the way down to empty. For the last little bit, you can open your arms up. So we can extend left arm right up in space, right arm on the outside of left leg, or right fingertips down to the ground in between the legs. Beautiful breathing, drawing open, facing the room. On your inhale, just rise all the way up into mountain, lengthening up nice and tall. And as you exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale halfway up, lengthen through the spine. Plant your hands, move back to the top of a plank position. And on your exhale, you can either go to down dog or go halfway down. And for up dog, root to the tops of the feet. Inhale to our back bend. Notice just your palms, just the tops of the feet are pressing to the ground. So thighs, hips are off the floor, shoulder blades engaged, shoulder heads down away from the ears in the back. You can also do a low cobra here as well. And then tuck the toes, shift the hips back up in space to down dog. As we come back into the second down dog, find that engagement and that strength around the lengthening of the spine and the lengthening of the legs. Use your breathing. Let's take one more inhale right here. And on the exhale, bend the knees, look between your hands, and step or float up to a forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale halfway up, lengthen through your spine. On the exhale, refold. Hold navel to spine at empty and reverse swan dive. Inhaling arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, cactus your arms open, baby back bend, lifting through the chest. Inhale to reach your arms back up tall in space. Root down into your right foot, and inhale to reach your left leg up in space to a one-legged mountain. Exhale, that left knee just bent at 90, extending up through your arms. Stay with your breathing. And we're going to work into figure 4, one-legged chair. So we take the left ankle over the top of the right thigh, and then sit back into our one-legged chair. You could bring your hands to your heart center, or one hand to your knee, one hand to your heel. And you're doing that one-legged chair, so we gotta really find the strength in the right leg. Find some flexion of your toes back in towards your shin, your left knee flexing down towards the earth, and focus your gaze on something that's not moving. If you fall out of this, no worries. What we're focused on is just that we're doing this with our breath. It's right there. Fantastic. So on your inhale, you're going to lift that left knee back up into our one-legged mountain. And on your exhale, start to swim back into a flying lunge. So your lower body will look like high crescent lunge. And then with your upper body, we're just flying the spine and the arms on a diagonal from the back leg. Find that length from the back leg all the way out through the back of the neck. Stay with your breathing. Find the strength in your lunge. Feel the thighs toning in towards one another to press off the ground. And then when you get down to the end of your exhale, use your next inhale to open into warrior 2. So sending that left arm back and reaching your right arm forward. Perhaps you lengthen your stance out a little bit. So walk your left foot back a little bit, bring your right foot back slightly. Right knee is right above the right heel, toes are pointing forward. Right sit bone underneath your body, spine's up tall in space, and as you open the arms up, let the shoulder heads release down away from the ears on the back. Stay with your breath here. Gaze right out across those fingertips. Feel the thighs toning in, the strength off the individual legs. And on your next exhale, extended side angle pose. So just rooting your right forearm to the top of the right thigh. You can pull your left arm out on a diagonal from your back left leg, or reach your left arm straight up in space. Gaze might even turn up towards the hand. As you're breathing here, if your back left hip lifted, drop the left hip down on level with your right. Find a lift through your inner right side body. Beautiful breathing, friends. Once you get down to the end of your breath, inhale back up to your warrior 2, and on your exhale, reverse your warrior. So right arm reaches up tall, left hand could be to your hip, thigh, or wrapped back behind you. Gaze could go to the side of the room, back down to your left foot, or I love turning the gaze up in this one, letting the left shoulder fall back away from the left ear, still working on that strength in the legs. Take one more inhale into it, and on your exhale, just cartwheel the hands down to frame the right foot. Turn onto the ball of the left. Inhale your right leg up to a 3-legged downward facing dog. And on your exhale, shift forward to your 3-legged plank. You can go right to down dog if you want, or drop halfway. Press to the tops of both of the feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck your toes. Exhale, reach back into your down dog. Back here for another couple rounds of breath. Stay with it. Find the strength. Find the length. One more inhale right here. And on your next exhale, bend your knees, look between the hands, and you can step or float forward, fold top of the mat. Inhale halfway up, lengthen through the spine. On the exhale, refold, and then reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, cactus your arms open to a baby back bend. Inhale to reach arms back up tall. And on the exhale, just draw your hands down into your heart center. This time, rooting into your left foot, inhale your arms and your right knee up to our one-legged mountain. And feel that right knee bent at 90, thigh bone plugged back in towards the hips, full length of your body right here. And for your one-legged chair, cross the right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Draw your hands in towards your heart center, or one hand to knee, one hand to heel. You're dropping back into the chair, full strength of your left leg engaged. Let your right toes flex back towards your shin, your right knee gently flex down, opening through the hip, and find that breathing right here. Again, if you fall out of it, no worries, just come back into it. Focusing on that mindfulness piece while we're in the pose. So you're going to rise back up into your one-legged mountain, bringing your arms and bringing that right knee with you. And on your exhale, go to your flying lunge. So ball the right foot back of your mat. Again, left leg looks like it's in, or your legs rather look like they are in the high crescent. Your spine's on the diagonal from your back leg. Arms are flying back. Elbows maybe slightly bending and lifting. You're already finding the strength of the legs toning in and the strength off of that front leg. Get down to the end of your breath. And next inhale, let's open up to warrior two. So right arm backward, left arm forward. Gaze out across those fingertips. So automatically, I just kind of lengthened my stance out a little bit to get that left thigh to drop a little more parallel to the ground to open up through it. And it's a combination in warrior two of spreading open and hugging back in. That's through the legs, pressing down into them, hugging back in, and then through your arms, reaching out wide. And then your shoulder blades slightly toned behind you, shoulder heads released. Take a deep breath into your warrior two, and on your next exhale, extended side angle pose. Left forearm, left thigh. Again, right arm on the diagonal, or right arm straight up in space. Find the strength through your inner left side body as you're doing the Ujjayi breathing. If your right hip popped up in space, drop that right hip back down so your hips are level in space. Inhale brings us back up to warrior two, and on the exhale, reverse your warrior. Reach that left arm up nice and tall. Take your gaze where you want it. Feel your right shoulder dropping away from right ear, and then that back right arm where it feels best to you. If you came up out of your lunge, just press back into it. Beautiful breathing. Let's take one more inhale right here. And on the exhale, cartwheel the hands down to frame the left foot onto the ball of the right, low lunge position. Inhale, reaches left leg back up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, you can come forward to plank to down dog, or halfway down, root to the tops of your feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, come back to down dog. So now we're going to take this breath to movement. Breathe into your downward facing dog. And on your exhale, bend your knees and take that step up, forward fold. Inhale brings you halfway up, lengthen through the spine. On the exhale, refold. Hold navel to spine and empty, and we'll reverse swan dive, inhaling arms up wide and tall. And on the exhale, bring the hands down into your heart center. Right foot is your root. Inhale, arms and left knee up into one-legged mountain. And as you exhale, take your figure four, one-legged chair, left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Inhale, back up to your one-legged mountain. And on your exhale, flying lunge. Left leg swings back, arms reach back. Inhale, warrior two, left arm back, right arm forward. And then exhale, extended side angle pose. Right forearm to right thigh. Inhale, reverse your warrior, sweep the sky with the right arm. Exhale down to your low lunge. Inhale, right leg, three-legged down dog. Exhale to your down dog or shift forward to plank, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck toes, exhale, down dog. Breathe into your downward facing dog. On the exhale, bend the knees. Take that step or float up to your forward fold, top of your mat. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen spine. Exhale, refold. And then we'll reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms wide and tall. Exhale, bring the hands down into your heart center. Left foot is your root. Inhale, arms and right knee up into one-legged mountain. And as you exhale, figure four, one-legged chair, right ankle over the top of the left thigh. Inhale, rise back up, one-legged mountain. And on the exhale, we'll swim back to that flying lunge position, ball of right foot back of mat. Inhale to your warrior two, so reaching that right arm back, left arm forward. And then exhaling to your extended side angle pose. Left forearm, left thigh. Inhale, reverses your warrior, sweeping the sky with the left arm. And on the exhale, cartwheel down to your low lunge. Inhale your left leg back up, three-legged down dog. You can go directly to down dog or exhale to your plank, Lower halfway, press to the tops of your feet. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a deep breath into it, fill up, and sigh out the mouth on the exhale. Do that again, friends. Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, sigh it out. Come down into child's pose. So knees out wide towards the edges of your mat. Tops of the feet are to the ground, big toes draw together. Sit bones lower back to your heels, and then just release the weight of your forehead all the way down with the arms out in front of you. Stay in your child's pose. I'm going to bring myself upright just to talk about it a little bit. So when we do our breath to movement, we stir the energy up. Heart rate gets increased. Breath is working really hard. We come back into a pose like child's pose. And it's a time where you really get to reestablish that relationship with the breath. Rein it back in. So really just focusing on those deep, slow inhales and then just those long exhales. Say last couple rounds of breath here. Inhale to rise up to your tabletop. And on your exhale, just drop one of your hips to the ground, bring your legs forward. And then we're going to come onto our back and do a little bit of core work. This is a great time, if you want to grab a drink of water and hydrate, to do so. Awesome, friends. So bring yourself down to your back. Draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your knees. Just give yourself a little side-to-side movement. So we're going to take our core work from 4 different places. First place is legs are straight up in space. Grab your hamstrings and then lift your head and shoulders off the ground for your gaze, so your gaze is forward. We'll do movement, hold, and then movement. Your movement piece, reach the arms directly forward and then start to twist forward with your right arm, twist forward with your left arm. Go for it, friends. Find your breathing. Use the breath, keep twisting. And then when you're ready, we're gonna hold. This is gonna be arms straight up. If your neck needs support, no worries. Throw one hand behind the base of the skull. Continue to lift up. Find that flex through the abs and breathe into it. You're doing great. Let's go back into the movement, side to side. Getting into those oblique muscles, those side body muscles. Yeah, listen to your breath. Use your breath. We're on the last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just take a full morning stretch. Relax the body. Stretch out your arms, stretch out your legs. Just give a little roll out through your wrists and your ankles. Little movement through your fingers and through your toes. Find that breath. Right on to the next one we're going to do this from a reverse tabletop. So start with your knees bent at 90, bottoms of feet are pointing forward. Hands are interlaced behind the base of the skull, head and shoulders are off the ground. From there, reach your legs out to a diagonal with your low back still rooted into the earth. And these are called in, up, down. So when you're ready, inhale, knees in, and then exhale, legs straight up and lower back to that diagonal. That's your movement. Inhale, knees in, exhale, legs straight up and lower back to the diagonal. And when you're ready, friends, we're going to hold the legs out of the diagonal. Low back rooted to the ground, pressed to the ground. Finding the inhales, finding the exhales. There's the tendency to hold your breath when you're here. We want to keep it flowing. All right, when you're ready, find that movement again. Inhale, knees in. Exhale, legs straight up, back to the diagonal. You got it. Stay with your breathing. So last 5, 4, 3, 2, And 1, Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle or cobbler's pose. So bottoms of feet are together, they're relaxed to the floor. Knees are wide, your legs are in a diamond shape. And just release the weight of the head and the arms. And just work through your breathing. Nice inhales, nice exhales. For our third position for core, we're going to be up in boat pose, Navasana. So to get there from your back, just bring your knees to your chest. You can grab onto the back of your legs if you want, and then we're going to do a rock and roll back and forth. It's from the base of the skull all the way up to the sit bones and back a few times. And then we'll catch ourselves up in boat pose. I'm going to turn to face you guys. Awesome. So you got the legs lifted. When you're with your hands to your hamstrings, take a moment and reinforce the strength in your body. Awesome. We're going to do crunchy frogs from here. So on your inhale, your knees are in, and then as you exhale, you can open the arms and the legs, and that's your movement. So inhale, bring knees in, and then exhale, open arms and legs. Find it at your own pace. Stay with your breathing. When you're opening back up, you really want to find that length back up through your spine. When you're ready, friends, next time you open, let's hold boat pose. You can do that with knees bent, hands to legs. Arms open away from the knees bent, or arms open and legs lengthened. Find that strength through your spine. Hug your shoulder blades in. Relax your face. Stay with your breath. You got this. Okay, back to your movement. Inhale, knees in. Exhale, open arms and legs. Last few right here. You're doing great. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Cross your ankles. Come forward to a tabletop position. And we're going to work into cat and cow. If you know where you're going, please just go at it at your own pace. If you're not familiar with this, inhale to cow, dropping the belly, lifting the chest and tailbone. Exhale to cat, dropping the head, rounding the spine. You can shift a little forwards and backwards as you work between the two of these, or take the hips or the shoulders side to side a little bit, just swaying, just feeling into the edges of the pose. Find the last round of breath here. Our last position is going to be from a forearm plank, so toes to the back of your mat. And just bringing the forearms down to the ground, elbows under your shoulders. Roll onto the outside of your right forearm. This is Vashisthasana side plank, onto the outside edge of your right foot. Stack the left onto the right, or plant the left foot to the ground behind the right leg as a kickstand. Inhale reaches your left arm up, and on your exhale, thread the needle, dive the left arm underneath the right. Inhale, pulls arm back up. Exhale, threads the needle. Keep this going at your own pace. And for our hold, we're just going to hold forearm plank. So bring yourself back down to your forearms. Keep the hips lifted right on level with your shoulders. Stay with your breathing. We'll find the other side of Vashisthasana side plank. So onto your left forearm, outside edge of your left foot, stack right on the left, or plant the right foot to the ground behind the left leg. Inhale your right arm straight up, and on your exhale, thread the needle, right arm underneath the left. You guys got it. Take it over at your own pace. Inhales, reach up. We're drawing hips away from the ground while we're doing this, making sure we're not sinking into that shoulder, but pushing to the ground and lifting away from it. Last couple on the movement. Return to your forearm plank position. And then for Sphinx Pose, we're just going to drop the hips to the ground, press the tops of the feet. You've got your elbows out in front of you, the right underneath your shoulders, bent at 90. So you've got just like the statue of the Sphinx. You're lifting up through your spine. Find length through the back of your neck. And then breathe into this stretch for your abdominal wall. Brilliant for the low back, although we can definitely feel it into the mid and upper. If you'd like, on your next exhale, just turn your gaze across your right shoulder, stretching through the neck. If gaze is across your right shoulder, your next exhale, just turn the gaze over across your left shoulder. We can bring the gaze back forward and leave the head upright, or just let the weight of your head gently fall forward. Find that length through the back of the neck. A little bit of cat in your upper spine, right up in your shoulders. And then just like you're laying out at the beach, just relax your arms, relax your head, pick your feet up in space, and just circle out your ankles, windshield wiper the legs, give a little roll out through the toes maybe. It's really good for the ankles, the feet. You can feel this into your knee joints and into your low back as well. Fantastic. So we'll lower the feet back down to the ground. To make your way to down dog, once again, you can go to a tabletop, or you can just do a reverse push-up and then shift the hips back and up in space. So on an inhale, we'll draw the right leg back and up to our three-legged downward facing dog. And as you exhale, open the hip and bend the knee for a scorpion tail. So your toes drape down over to the left, knee lifts up nice and tall. Stay strong in your shoulders, make sure they're not twisting super deep. Gaze is still behind you, and your back left heel is pointed to the wall behind you. Your next exhale, we're going to step up, find a low lunge position, and then drop that knife edge of the left foot down to the ground and find warrior one. You can open your heels up a little bit wider if you want, so rather than on a balance beam, they're on railroad tracks. Excellent. And you're twisting through the spine here, twisting through your hips, that right thigh bone plugging back into the body, that left hip drawing forward. As you press that into the legs are toned up here. Your next exhale, swim your hands behind, interlace your fingers at your knuckles. Inhale the knuckles down as your shoulders squeeze, chest lifts. And as you exhale, just bow to your humble warrior, right shoulder towards the inside of the right thigh. Relax the weight of your head here. Let the clasped arms gently open up overhead. Think about this as a hybrid between a forward fold and a lunge position. Nice, last round of breath. Release your hands down to the ground, and then we'll walk the hands over towards the left and open to this wide-legged fold so you're facing over towards the left side of your mat. Once you've got the width for your stance, inhale halfway up, lengthen through the spine. On your exhale, refold. You could grab the outside edges of the feet if you want to gently draw in, or pull against the ankles, or pull against the big toes. Totally relaxing the weight of the head here. Feeling that press down through the legs as the hips lift up, and then the weight of the spine just released forward. Awesome, friends. So once you're down at the end of your next breath, we're going to walk back up to our low lunge position, both hands framing the right foot, ball the left foot to the ground behind us. For warrior three, if you've got a block, you're going to bring it up to the top left side of your mat. Your left hand presses into it so that when you stand up on your right leg and you're reaching that left leg back, that you've got the block to press into, or you've got your hand pressing into your right thigh. If you are ready to leave the block, we could do both hands to the right thigh. Think about a capital T shape with your body. The front of your left hip bone is pointing down. You're pressing back through that left heel. If you want, leave left hand to right thigh and extend that right arm forward in space, or perhaps both arms go forward in space. And it's this nice lift up through the back leg as you press down, finding the strength through your right leg, playing with your balance, and feeling that strength with your back, with your core muscles, with your shoulders. We'll release back down to a low lunge position. If you've got the block, slide it out of the way. Inhale back to three-legged down dog. On the exhale, you can come to full down dog or shift forward to your plank. Drop halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, shift back into your down dog. Once you're in your down dog, we'll switch things up. So take the left leg back up in space. And on the exhale, open the hip and bend the knees to your scorpion tail. Toes drape down over to the right as the knee lifts up. Gaze and head relaxed. Finding that strength through your arms, shoulders. Lifting through the knee. And on your next exhale, step up, low lunge position. For warrior one, knife edge of the right foot down to the ground. Again, you can open your heels up a little bit wider. Lift your body up in space. You've got a high crescent lunge with your upper body, opening the shoulders over towards the front of the mat, the chest towards the front of the mat, arms up nice and tall. And that twist through your hips. On your next exhale, let's drop hands behind, interlace fingers at your knuckles. Inhale, knuckles down as the shoulders squeeze together. And on your next exhale, bow forward, humble warrior. Left shoulder inside of left thigh. It can also hover above it, or you can rest the shoulder onto the thigh as well. And then you can have the heels of your palms pressed together or open a little wider. If they're wider, you might find you can open the shoulders a little bit easier, but you can also experiment with that. Weight of head relaxed. On to our last couple rounds of breath here. Awesome, last one. As you exhale and release, you'll bring your hands down to the inside of the left foot, open to your wide-legged fold, now facing over to the right side of your mat. Inhale halfway up once you got your stance. On the exhale, refold. And then reverse swan dive, inhale, arms up to a star. And as you exhale, come into horse pose, wide-legged squats. If you want a challenge here, lift your heels off the ground on the balls of the feet. The feet might come in a little bit closer. You can open the arms wide, tone the shoulder blades back in towards one another, or hands to legs or hands to heart. Relax through your face, find your breath. Make sure the thighs aren't collapsing in. We're opening them up and back. You're right at the end here. Open back up to the star, legs wide, inhale, arms up. And on the exhale, hinge out from the hips, swan dive down, forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. So walk up to your low lunge, and again, we're gonna go into this warrior 3. So if you're using your block, this time it's the top right edge of your mat on level 3. Right hand presses to your block, left hand would go to your thigh, and then we would pick the right leg back up off the ground. You're pressing your right heel into the wall behind you, pointing the front of your hip bone to the ground, toes to the ground as you lift up. Spine finds that half lift position. So we could do both hands to the standing left leg. Or leave the right hand there and extend that left arm forward in space. Or if you took both arms forward, find that here. Keep drawing up through the spine, strengthening around it, lifting through back leg, pressing back. One more inhale right here. And a low lunge on your exhale. Slide the block out of the way. Inhale takes your left leg back up, three-legged down dog. You can exhale to your down dog or shift forward, three-legged plank. Drop halfway. Chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog. And then tuck your toes. Come back to our last down dog. Deep breath into it. Find the exhale. Then lower down to your knees. Drop one of your hips to the ground. Bring your legs forward. Good time to again grab a drink of water, friends, if you're thirsty. So seated forward fold. If you're facing up to the top of your mat, push your heels down and forward, a little bit of a bend into your knees, and then walk your sit bones back a little bit. Pull the flesh away. Inhale your arms up so your upper body looks like you're in mountain. And on your next exhale, hinge forward, dive and grab onto the shins or the feet. Still have that bend in your knees if you need. We'll inhale like we're on a road bike, so lifting the head and the chest towards the front of the room, lengthening the low back. And on your exhale, refold. Gaze down to the ground. Crown of the head reaching forward. And again, your hands can be to your shins or to the floor. If you've got a strap, you can go around the feet, one end in left hand, one end into right hand. And just use your breath. From the end of your breath, inhale to reach your arms wide and tall, reach up, and on the exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Slide your hips up a little bit, plant your feet, your knees are up in space, feet are right up towards the top of your mat, so there's space for us to lay back. Reach your arms forward, and vertebrae by vertebrae, use that core strength to lower down. And once your head taps down, you'll reach your arms down your sides and step your heels in until your fingers can brush your heels. This has the heels directly underneath your knees, the right hip bone distance. We're ready for bridge pose. So you can press down into your triceps with your elbows bent at 90, fingers reaching up. Shoulder blades can step in a little closer, and then you're lifting your hips up, making that arch with your back. Pressing down into the feet, rooting into your big toes, and staying with your breathing. If your gaze is towards your belly, this is a place you can see the rise and fall of your breath as we do this diaphragm breath in and out through the nose. Weight of the head is released. Let's take one more inhale right here. And on your exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll down, bring your knees to your chest, wrap your arms around your knees, and give yourself a little rock side to side. For reclined pigeon on your right hip, just plant your left foot to the ground with your knee up in space. And then it's that figure 4 we did earlier in Sun Salutation B, just on your back. So right ankle over the top of that left thigh. Interlace your hands around the shin or the hamstring. On that left leg, draw your knee up in towards your chest. You can flex your right toes back in towards your shin, right heel pointing out to the side, right knee gently flexes forward. Weight of the head released, maybe a little side to side movement here. And just breathing into that stretch we're making in the right hip. And then extend your left leg flat out in front of you and start to pull your right knee up towards your right shoulder. We'll make a spinal twist here. So left hand will pull the right knee down over the left. Your body rolls onto the outside edge of the left hip.
Reach your right arm out to the right, and your gaze goes out across your right fingertips towards the right side of the room. Now think about it, you're making a plus sign with your body. Vertical line is your spine all the way down through your left leg. Horizontal line is your right arm to the right, and then your right thigh out towards the left. Relax that right shoulder towards the ground, and then just feel the breath moving the twist. Inhales coming in nice and slow around the twist. And when the exhale comes, your body releases deeper into the twist. Out of the twist, just bring your knees back into your chest, onto your back. Give yourself a little rock. And then we'll switch out that reclined pigeon. This is going to be for your left hip. So just plant your right foot to the ground, your knees up in space. Cross the left ankle over the top of your right thigh. And then we'll interlace the hands around the right shin or the hamstring. Right arm goes to the outside of the right leg, left hand into the gap we've created between the legs. Find some flexion on your left foot, toes back to your shin, heel pressing out to the side of the room, let your knee gently flex forward, weight of head relax, and again, I love just doing that little side to side rocking while we're in reclined pigeon. And of course, staying with your breath, using your inhales, using your exhales. Awesome, friends. So right leg releases flat out in front of us. Hug your left knee up towards your left shoulder. And then we'll move into the spinal twist on the other side. So right hand grabs your left knee, pulls it down over to the right so the body rolls onto the outside edge of the right hip. Left arm extends out to the left. Gaze goes out across your left fingertips. And then just letting the breath do its magic while you're here. Finding that mindfulness, finding that mind-body connection. From the end of your breath, just bring your knees back into your chest. You can wrap your arms around them and rock side to side, or take happy baby. Peace sign fingers to big toes or hands to the edges of the feet. Let the knees open wide. Bend the knees so that the bottoms of the feet are pointing up in space. Then just pull down on the frame and just give some side to side rocking, massaging out the hips, low back, and sacrum. Weight of your head is totally relaxed out here. As you release out of your happy baby, we're ready for our corpse posture, Shavasana. So if you got that blanket, it could go back behind your head or over your body, or you could also slide it underneath your knees or your hips. But essentially just letting the weight of your body relax. While you're getting into your Shavasana, I'm going to grab my guitarra. I've got some music for you. And again, just with Shavasana, just relaxing the weight of the body. Letting go of controlling your breath, your body has control of the breathing.
So friends, just start to bring some life back into your body. Move through your fingers, move through your toes. Stretch and reach your arms all the way back overhead behind you to a full morning stretch, moving through the ankles, through the wrists. And then turn the weight of your body onto your side into a fetal position. Curl up, relax. And we'll meet in a cross-legged position. So just pressing your hands to the ground, bringing yourself upright. Keep your eyes closed. Find the front edge of your sit bones. You're welcome to sit up on the edge of a block if you have it, or onto the edge of the blanket. On an inhale, just lengthen your arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, bring your hands down into your heart center. Let your thumbs just press back in towards your sternum. Friends, it's been a pleasure to lead you through your yoga practice. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. The light in me greets the light in you. Namaste.